Welcome to the Scientific Investor channel. Today, cryptocurrencies more or less stagnant, mixed opinions, right? We can see negative, we can see positive in 24 hours, but more or less it's kind of boring, and boring is actually good. Anyway, we'll look through different updates from Twitter tweets, then other news articles related to XRP, the overall ecosystem, considering Bitcoin. When Bitcoin moves up, it pushes others too, right? So we'll discuss through that and other articles like these showing Bitcoin shorts are reaching so low. Then we'll go through different crypto assets, say Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, LTC, through their technical analysis. We'll use a long-term perspective first to understand what is happening in the long term, where we are in the market cycle, and then we'll actually use log scale chart and discuss about the particular point where we are in. Say if we analyze about the market cycle and we are in the mid or end of a cycle, then to understand that, we'll go into 4-hour time frame and do the technical analysis based on the patterns which is forming in the chart. But before that, I would like to request you guys, if you guys like the content I provide on a daily basis, please do support the channel, subscribe and like the content. Thank you for doing so. Now we'll move on to the updates. Now this is from King Solomon at XRP All. National Science Foundation, that's US government agency, so he's showing that this is national science, so that's a government entity, and you can see they are researching on the capacity of XRP, how they can increase the efficiency from this particular point. Now this is showing NSF, what is it, why is it, and this is from Google Scholar, I think, showing the literature and the writers. Now as you can see, there are different writers in this particular one, but if you see the results, you can actually understand that the capacity of 30,000 XRP equally split between two parties. Like they are actually trying to consider payments between two parties, and they actually try to do that, say from 10,000 to 100,000 XRP, and measured the success across different schemes. So think, this is being done by national level research institute, which is supported by the government itself, right? The US government agency. So that's actually good news, and two huge news. See, they monitor the success, and if that is happening, what you have to understand is this is literature, right? So it is by the end of 2018. Now it's already 1 year past. So automatically that makes, say, credibility from the literature publication itself, and then the financial institutions can actually use that. Now moving on to the next one, we can see that XR predictions. ING Bank reports that digital assets is an immediate use case in helping the liquidity crisis. Now whenever we talk about this in this channel, we have already discussed about the upcoming liquidity crisis and the role of digital assets or digital currencies in solving that, right, or at least assisting to solve that. Say XRP is now named as on demand liquidity by Ripple, the company, for their particular product, previously which was XRapid. Now it's XRP, right? So now they have changed that or rebranded that into on demand liquidity to, like, in my perspective, I think they did that based on the upcoming liquidity crisis, because those who are in the sector, financial sector, know that something is coming and they are actually preparing for that. Now this article is actually showing the same. Banks spell out use cases for digital currencies as they see a lot of issues within the banking system. ING focus on the one country in particular, saying Ukrainian workers will send some 16 billion USD back to their home country this year. Moreover, the total average cost of sending USD 200 of remittance from US to Ukraine stands at around $10, which is around 5%. This includes both transaction fee and the exchange rate margin. That's actually a bad thing, right? When you're sending 200 to your loved one and you have to pay $10 fee, so they only get 190. So if you actually want to send them 200, you will have to send around 212, 213, right? So that's really bad. Whereas if you're using a transaction with XRP, it's fraction of a penny which you're paying. So if you are sending 201, your loved one will already get more than 200, right? So that's best. It's 1/10 of or even lower than that of the what bank charges you. And this one is from at Servant Hockey. If my pronunciation is wrong, I'm sorry about that. Anyway, it's SARENHOKKACI. Now this one showing that it's actually showing XRP to BTC and the previous pattern it formed and how it breached that pattern once that volume actually came in actually. So if it is to happen here, then that's a question mark, right? If it is to happen, then yeah, we can pump up to this high or this high or this high. That would actually depend upon the newcomers or the institutions who are pushing it up. Now this one showing that key indicator shows XRP price could be on the verge, right? Now based on the charts which we will actually discuss, I also feel the same, because if the pattern is at the end, we can see that in a longer time frame chart, if you take that in a weekly chart at least, and then draw your lines, say you try to connect the trend, say which was forming from the previous time, say from this particular area till here, what you can see is it's being constantly retesting this particular area, and it always failed. Yes, I do agree, we failed to breach that particular area, but this particular area where the price is right now, we can actually consider like this, because we didn't actually go below this for a lot of time, and when we did go below this line, we actually retested that, then bounced within that range. Then throughout the time we were actually ranging within. So if we are to break to the downside, then yeah, it's a negative news. But as far as I look at this, looking at the technical indicators as well, what we can see is currently, if you look at the daily to understand what is happening there at present, you can see that the MACD is being trying to cross to the upside from last 3-4 days, and you are getting a positive candle as of now. So if you actually manage to get that, then yes, I completely agree with the author here. XRP could be at the verge of a breakout, and once it breaks out, then yes, we could see higher price ranges, like at least $1, because even coin fair value is showing about $1, and most of them are looking for that. Now Santander teases US Mexico remittance. Will banking giant use XRP? Now that's a question mark, but what you have to understand is at present what they stated is, at the other end of the spectrum, many Mexicans are starting to think 36 billion every year from US to Mexico, right? They are sending that. So we are launching a fast competitive remittance program, initially just from Santander branches to any bank in Mexico. So what they are proposing is something cheaper, faster for the customer, right? Providing a better experience for the customer. So what else do you have in that corridor to manage that liquidity? You have on-demand liquidity service in that particular corridor, right? US dollar to Mexican pesos. So in this particular one, as you can see, when going through their writing, say Ripple partner MoneyGram says it's currently processing 10% of its transaction volume between US and Mexico using on-demand liquidity. So if they are using 10% right now and they are looking to expand it, what will they use? Come on, at least even if they are increasing that to 20 or 30%, that's gonna be a big amount, right? And if they see potential profits at that particular, it's a business, right? They are doing that for profit. They are not a charity. Like, they always need to pay their employee, they need their profit, so they will be looking for better technology to enhance that. Now this one is showing new XRP validator for XRP ledger, and that's the University of Tokyo joins Ripple's UBRI and becomes an XRP validator. You see the validators, as the number of external validators are increasing, the item is being more decentralized. As others just say, oh come on, look at that, that's a token provided by that particular company and it's centralized. But the reality is the opposite. Now Ripple has been working on its UBRI program in the past. It's already supporting over 30 different universities in 14 countries around the world. In Japan, the Kyoto University joined UBI project in the past in order to accelerate academic research, technical development, and innovation in distributed ledger technology and cryptocurrencies. That's actually fair. That's good, right? If there are more research publications in the scientific journals, which will actually push automatically new syllabus for those who are coming in next, say the bachelor's degree, or in say computer science or technology or something related to blockchain. They will have those to study. So this is becoming a prominent industry. Now, an investor says halving won't have a big impact on Bitcoin's price. Now, that's his opinion. So in order to understand that, we'll have to actually look at the Bitcoin chart itself and analyze where we are in terms of the market cycle. So if you want to look at the market cycle of Bitcoin, you'll have to look at weekly chart at least to see where we are, right? This particular aspect, we have pumped, we corrected back, then we moved up, we corrected back. And if you're actually comparing it with the 2015 range, say we were below all these moving average, we managed to come into the moving average range, then we broke above the moving average range, we retested that moving average, then it got the support there and moved up. So if we look at that, we can see the same. Say we were here below the moving average range, then we came into the moving average range, we broke above that, we came below and retested that. So we are now in the retesting area. So if we manage to get a bit of push here, then yes, that's a good opportunity. Now, looking at this, you can actually plot your lines as you like this and this, so you will get a channel there. Now, considering this run up high from this particular point, what you have to think is there will be a correction for every pump, right? It's not a pump and dump happening here. Literally, you can see that it actually rose 320%, more than 320%, and now it's correcting around 50-60%. That's actually normal in cryptocurrency world, right? So if you see the percentage of correction which has till the bottom, say it's 50%, that's okay, that's cool, because for Bitcoin that usually happens. Now, what is important at this particular moment is we are going to get a golden cross here. Say the 50-day and 100-day moving average are at the cross. If they cross in a couple of days, and the price may get more momentum. Now this is in a weekly chart, so we actually zoom in a bit, look at a bit closer. Say in the daily chart, we have something similar here in the MACD for BTC and XRP. So that's like, say if this is a new trend forming here, if it makes a higher low and then pumps up into the moving averages in daily chart towards 10,000, that's a positive momentum. But what you have to consider is even at that particular move, you'll have a resistance around 8,600. So if you manage to break above that, then that's perfectly bullish, because as you can see here, the price was moving to the downside. MACD was showing you that it's gone across to the upside, and that cross actually happened, but it took a bit while after the cross to pump a high. So those who are holding from here or here will get a reward at least around 8,800 or 9,000 if it's a fake out like this. So now that's considering that. Now, as we just discussed about that, as the writer was showing that the halving is not gonna give it much of an impact. So in that particular fact, if you can see, say this is the chart for BTC in a long term, and when we look at this, say the previous halving, there was a bit of pump going into the halving and after the halving. So the technicals can change a bit, but if the fundamentals are really strong like this, and the demand is the same and supply is getting reduced, then it should be positive in the long run. There can be short-term price fluctuations which will actually just kick out the weak hands. That's actually required for every market, right? You should need stable investors to hold strong on that asset class, to believe in that asset class. Now, because I'm connecting that to this article, Bitcoin is up 172,000% since 2012. Now look at a digital currency, that's Bitcoin, which was the first. is having this much price appreciation, whereas a government fiat currency lost 90% of its value. That's Argentine peso and Turkish lira 70%. So you see the difference. Now whenever a currency is losing its value, that's just bringing down the purchasing power of common man. At the same time, those who are in Bitcoin just got around 170,000%. So that's unimaginable, right, for the traditional market. Now this is like another positive news. As you can see that the Bitcoin shorts are dropping 40%, and whenever they actually explain, whenever they highlight that the Bitcoin shorts are going to the downside, it has a bump up high after a bit. Say they're showcasing the previous low on April 8. On that day, Crypto Potato has reported a similar event when the BTC shorts have gone down by 20%. Despite the sudden 20% drop, BTC's price has remained relatively steady after that event at time. So another similar event where during around 3000 when the price was around 3600 on that day, but it didn't take long, and a week after that short squeeze took place and the Bitcoin price breached 4200 or 4200. So if this is to happen in the similar case, we may see a short squeeze reaching up to 8500 for sure. Then when that happens, usually the buyers come in and just push the price even higher. So that pushes the price even higher. When BTC goes up, it also helps the altcoin in a way. Now that's not like when you're comparing altcoin market cap with that of BTC. That's a bit different. Now this is Ether on a daily chart, and as we discussed last time, we are still at the support area. We are bouncing off from there, but we are midway towards in the path towards the upper resistance here. So if you see that as a buying opportunity, that's cool, that's great. But as we discussed in our yesterday's video, what you have to look at here is the previous support area is now a resistance area. So unless it is breaking to the upside, it's still a bit riskier to get into that. If you're doing so, do keep your stop loss somewhere here so that you are safe, you're not losing much. Now that's not a financial advice, right? That's my personal opinion based on this chart and the indicators I'm using here. Because as I see, the MACD is going to cross to the upside, and most of the cryptocurrencies is showing the same trend. And if it is the same like 2017 or 2014, then yeah, we may see a good pump here. Because last time we saw the same in the weekly and it didn't happen. We all were actually waiting for the cross to the upside, but for Ether we didn't get that cross. It was just bouncing to the downside. Now as you see previously, it always happens, like it tries 1, twice, 3 and 4, it goes to the upside, right? It takes a bit of time. You should be patient enough to get that pump, otherwise you're gonna miss that. Even most experienced traders, not in the cryptocurrency world, but say in the traditional financial world, like Jim Rogers used to state that I'm not a good market timer. His decision is always right, whether it's a put or call, but the timing is a bit difficult part to do. Doing that exact timing is a bit difficult. But yeah, if others can do it perfectly, wow, that's fine, that's great for them, but it's really hard to do. So if you are buying this asset, you should be holding on to that to get that profit. So that's all for today, and I would like to request you guys again, please do support the channel, give it a subscribe and like. I provide the cryptocurrency update on a daily basis. Please do support the channel, as this is a new channel. I do need your support. So I'll meet you guys on my next video.